I was shocked when I saw my cheating wife kneel down and do that with my brother after his wife's death. In a fit of anger, I wanted to retaliate, but then a brilliant idea came to my mind on how to destroy them. And here's what I did. Chapter 1. The morning that unmasked the truth. Grief hits people differently. When my sister-in-law Natalie passed away after a long battle with cancer, our family was devastated. My older brother Daniel had been by her side every step of the way. He was broken, but dignified. Their daughter, just 10, clung to his side at the funeral while I gave the eulogy. And my wife Claire, cried more than anyone, or so it seemed. She held Daniel's hand a little too long. She stroked his back during the wake. At first, I chalked it up to kindness. Claire had always been close to Natalie. They were like sisters. But something about the way her eyes lingered made my gut twist. I ignored it. Who questions their wife's intentions during a funeral? But the doubts began to mount. 3 days after the funeral, Claire told me she was going to Daniel's house to help with the cleanup. She packed homemade soup, cookies, and even a change of clothes, just in case I spill something. At the time, I wanted to believe her, but something about her tone felt rehearsed. That night, she didn't come back. I called twice. No answer. She finally replied at 2:13 a.m. with a casual, "Fell asleep on the couch at Daniel's. He's a mess." And I believed her, because I didn't want the alternative. But the next morning, while making coffee, something inside me snapped. Maybe it was the lingering text. Maybe it was her missing wedding ring. Maybe it was the way she came back humming. I checked our home security app. Months earlier, I'd installed a discreet ring-like camera in our garage entrance, part of a home insurance deal. I never used it much, but it had motion alerts. I loaded the footage from the previous night. At 9:42 p.m., Claire left the house. At 10:17 p.m., she came back. And she wasn't alone. Daniel was with her, laughing. Tipsy. Claire held his hand, pulled him into the garage, then paused to lock the door behind her. The two of them disappeared off camera. But I could hear it. Muffled giggles, a rustle, and then a whisper from Claire that made my skin crawl. "I told you he'd never suspect a thing." It was like a grenade exploded in my chest. I stood in the kitchen frozen, coffee burning in my hand. They didn't even wait a week. My brother, my blood, and my wife. I could have stormed out right then, confronted them, screamed, hit something, maybe even someone. But instead, something else clicked in me. Not rage, not despair, precision. I realized I didn't want justice. I wanted devastation, and not just for one night. I wanted them to feel it, slowly, completely, with no way out. So I smiled and whispered to myself, "Let the game begin." Chapter 2. I laid the trap in broad daylight, and they thanked me for it. The morning after I watched that garage footage, Claire served me pancakes with a kiss on the cheek. "You didn't sleep well," she said sweetly. "Bad dreams." "No, Claire, just a revelation." But I smiled back. "Just worried about Daniel. Maybe we should have him over more, help him feel like part of the family." She lit up, genuinely. "That's such a good idea, babe." Oh, it was more than a good idea. It was bait. Step 1. Win trust. I spent the next 2 weeks becoming the model brother. I invited Daniel to dinner, suggested he and Claire go shopping for Natalie's memorial event together. You guys were so close to her, it makes sense. I even asked if he wanted to help me renovate the guest room, for when your daughter sleeps over. He looked at me like I was the best sibling alive. "Claire?" She looked relieved. They thought I had no clue. But while they snuck glances across the table and took longer errands together, I was building a war chest. Step 2. Gather everything. I already had the garage footage. That was just the tip. I searched the cloud storage linked to our shared devices. Claire had forgotten one crucial thing. I had set up automatic sync across our phones and the house tablet 2 years ago. She'd stopped using it, but the old app was still active. I opened it. There were videos, text threads, voice notes. My stomach turned as I watched her whisper into the camera, dressed in nothing but one of Daniel's old varsity shirts, saying, "It should have been you from the start." In another, Daniel said, "I can't wait until we don't have to sneak around anymore. I think he suspects something, though." You think? I organized every file, dated everything, created 3 backups on separate encrypted USB drives. Step 3, flip the script. I contacted a lawyer, not just any lawyer, my cousin Lisa. She's a stone-cold bulldog in divorce court and has a brutal reputation for asset protection. I laid it all out for her. She didn't blink. Don't worry. By the time this goes to court, she'll be lucky to walk away with her shoes. Then I contacted Daniel's employer. See, Daniel was an accountant at a respected firm. Very conservative. Very family values driven. One hint of scandal and his reputation would evaporate like steam. So I waited. I waited for just the right moment. The opportunity came 3 weeks later. Claire told me she was planning a weekend hiking retreat with her nurse friends. She even made a fake itinerary. Meanwhile, Daniel told me he was taking his daughter to her grandparents for the weekend. Sweet. Except I already knew they'd booked a lakeside Airbnb under Daniel's name. I smiled and texted them both, "Have a great trip. Be safe." I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm. Because that weekend, I had a copy of the key to the Airbnb, and I had a drone, and I had a friend who worked in private security who owed me a favor, and just loved field work. It was time to gather the final evidence, not to scream at them, but to destroy them, legally, financially, and socially, piece by piece. Chapter 3. The trap snaps shut, and their smiles begin to fade. It was early Sunday morning when I made the final move. The Airbnb's coordinates were punched into the drone app, and my friend, Marcus, ex-military, now a licensed PI, handled the on-site part. He didn't even need the spare key. He camped out in the woods, drone overhead, capturing every intimate moment those 2 traitors thought was private. They were out on the deck, wrapped in blankets. Claire wore the necklace I gave her on our 3rd anniversary. Daniel toasted her with a bottle of champagne I had left in our cellar. Everything was recorded. Every kiss, every grope, every whispered lie, and then they disappeared into the bedroom. I didn't need the rest. By Monday morning, Marcus handed me the footage, crystal clear, time-stamped, verified. He even included a photo of their Airbnb receipt, which I forwarded to Lisa. She called me within minutes. "This is gold. You'll get the house, the car, and likely spousal support from her." I laughed. I don't want her money. I just want her reputation to match her actions. Lisa smirked through the phone. Then let's make that happen. Phase 2. Detonation. I scheduled everything for a Wednesday. Claire's shift at the hospital and Daniel's quarterly review at work. At 9 a.m., I sent a package to the head of HR at Daniel's firm. The videos, the text logs, screenshots from his work email. Yes, the affair had crept into office hours. A notarized statement that he used company time and resources to conduct an extramarital relationship. At 9:15 a.m., I delivered a manila envelope to Claire's nursing supervisor. Inside, photos of Daniel waiting for her in the parking lot. Screenshots of their explicit messages, some of which were exchanged during her shifts. A complaint that she had used my insurance plan to cover a joint therapy session, billed fraudulently as a grief counseling meeting. By 10:30 a.m., my phone lit up. "Claire, did you do this? You're evil." "Daniel, what the hell is wrong with you? You ruined my career." I didn't reply. Instead, I sat on our porch, sipping coffee, calm, at peace. The trap was closing, and they knew it. But there was one final piece of the puzzle. Phase 3. Humiliation. That evening, I uploaded a private video to a shared Google Drive folder. Then I texted Claire, "Since you love memories so much, I compiled one last montage for your keepsake." She opened it. Marcus had edited the footage together like a twisted wedding video. Romantic music, clips of Daniel and Claire laughing, kissing, touching, cut between photos of our wedding, family vacations, her holding my hand, his eulogy at his wife's funeral. At the end, a single screen. To the two people who shattered my trust, you deserve each other, but the world deserves to know who you really are. She didn't reply, but I knew she watched it. The next day I changed the locks, froze the joint accounts, forwarded a copy of the footage to her parents, who called me in tears, ashamed and disgusted. Daniel's ex-in-laws, Natalie's parents, called me too. They had seen the footage. Her father's words were short but unforgettable. "Thank you for showing us the truth. He doesn't deserve to raise our granddaughter." By Friday, Claire was suspended from her job pending investigation. Daniel was fired. The community began whispering, and I slept like a baby for the first time in months. Chapter 4. The Aftermath and the Sweet Taste of Freedom. By the following week, the damage had crystallized. Claire moved into her sister's cramped apartment across town. I didn't have to dig to find that out. She left behind a handful of bills in the mailbox, all forwarded to that address. Daniel, meanwhile, had vanished off social media entirely. His once routine gym selfies, LinkedIn updates, and weekend escapades with the boys were wiped clean. I didn't reach out, didn't need to. The fallout did the talking. Claire tried to salvage things with a heartfelt Facebook post, the kind filled with pseudo-philosophical quotes about finding yourself and healing after betrayal. But it didn't land. The comments section turned savage, especially after a classmate from our high school days shared the leaked video with a cryptic caption, "Guess grief comes in many positions." That post got over 12,000 views in 2 days. By Friday, Claire deleted all her accounts. Daniel fared even worse. Remember Natalie, the wife he buried so gracefully? Her parents filed for full custody of their granddaughter. With the affair public, video footage as evidence, and a judge who clearly wasn't fond of predatory widowers, the ruling was swift. He lost custody. He lost visitation rights. He lost his home, which had been left in Natalie's name. Everything Natalie had worked for was finally protected, and the man who dishonored her memory had nothing. Poetic. Back in my world, things were quiet, peaceful. I finalized the divorce with Claire. Thanks to my careful documentation, I kept the house, the car, full ownership of the stocks and retirement account, and even won a clause that required Claire to pay legal fees for dragging the case out unnecessarily. Lisa, my attorney, smiled as the judge slammed the gavel. "Told you," she whispered. "Justice doesn't shout, it grinds." And oh, it ground beautifully. Weeks later, Claire tried one last move. She showed up at my house, hair unbrushed, no makeup, face thinner, hollow. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice trembling. "I brought you something." She held up a photo, us, years ago in Italy, smiling, arms wrapped around each other. A time when I thought she was my everything. I took the photo gently, looked at it, then slowly ripped it in half and let the pieces fall at her feet. "I already mourned you," I said softly. "You died the day you betrayed me." And I closed the door. Epilogue. Peace isn't silent. It sings. Months later, I was at a friend's wedding, laughing, dancing, whole again. A woman named Mia, quiet, thoughtful, with a mind sharper than sarcasm itself, sat beside me. She wasn't flashy. She didn't flirt. She just listened. And for the first time in years, I felt seen, not judged. She didn't know my story that night, but she would, eventually. Because I wasn't ashamed of it anymore. It made me stronger, wiser, unbreakable. If this story spoke to a part of your soul, if you've ever been betrayed, gaslighted, or left questioning your own worth, just remember, you didn't lose. They did. And sometimes the best revenge isn't a scream. It's the sound of your own laughter echoing in a life they no longer get to touch. If this story hit hard, make sure you comment your thoughts. Subscribe to Lauren's story and share it with someone who needs strength today, because healing is the loudest mic drop of all.